Well, greetings, my imagination connoisseurs. It is I, the notorious RMB, coming at you from my hotel room on the 25th floor of Caesar's Palace. And I have to say, it's pretty amazing here. I hadn't been to Caesar's Palace in a long time. It's labyrinthian. So, first of all, if you can hear me, I can't hear myself on these headphones. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can. I would assume maybe you can. It looks like you can, but I don't know. It looks, if you can hear me, just say you can hear me. By the way, Goalie Dad 33 asked me at the top of this chat before I even got in here, was I going to the Dolby Laboratories party and dinner tonight? The answer to that question, yes, sir. I have my ticket. I went to the press room at 7:30 this morning when it opened, so I would be getting that ticket, and I have it right now. So why am I here? First of all, what am I doing here in Las Vegas? Well, I am at what's called Cinemacon. Now, Cinemacon used to be called Show West, and what Show West went on for a long time. What Show West did was all of the exhibitors, the exhibitors who own theater chains or anybody who's interested or involved in the motion picture exhibition business comes out here. And they sort of rebranded it to Cinemacon to sort of be, I think, to make it sound sexier. I mean, Show West was so, what does that mean? But Cinemacon's like Comic-Con, but for movies. So it is kind of that way. And that's why I'm here. And Jon Campea and I will be covering it. Jon he's actually staying in the Octavius Tower, which I think is hilarious considering they're promoting Spider-Man Far From Home here. You'll see at the thumbnail for this chat. So when I got to the press room at 7:30 this morning, I was walking around looking at all the displays because nobody really was up yet because I'm the idiot who had to be there first. And they had a selfie booth, and it was promoting movies, and you could take pictures. Like, you'd get in the selfie booth and it would give you a choice of what you wanted to do. So of course I had to have my picture taken with Spider-Man, and then they email you the picture, and lo and behold, there it is on the thumbnail for this chat on this April 1st. Well, before I get into more of what I wanted to talk about, today is actually a momentous day for the Burnettwork, both these live chats and my website, theburnettwork.net. Why is this a momentous day, you might ask? Today is the first day, April 1st. This is not an April Fool's joke. This is absolutely true. I have a sponsor. I got a sponsor. Now, part of the reason that I have a sponsor is I'm going to be doing some other work for this website for the company that is sponsoring me. So I'm actually doing work for them that is unrelated to Robservations and the Burnettwork. But they also want to sponsor me and help me grow this channel and bring more to it, which is amazing. So here's the sponsor. The sponsor is actually Lucky Tiger, and it's men's shaving, men's grooming products. Now I'm like, come on, really? Men's grooming products. Actually, it's called, let me get this correct. It's Lucky Tiger Grooming Products for Men Who Deserve to Look and Feel Great. Now, I'm certainly one of those men. So I'm like, all right, but I'm not just going to accept your sponsorship. Why would I do that? Well, here's the thing. So I looked into Lucky Tiger. Lucky Tiger is almost 100 years old. And it was basically founded in the Midwest by the Willy Wonka of men's grooming products. You know, he had his own shop, and then he experimented with these potions and lotions. It's pretty cool. Like, if you go into the history of Lucky Tiger, and that was kind of cool. I mean, I thought that was really, really interesting. Now, but I wasn't familiar with their product line. Well, now I am. So I got some Lucky Tiger products. They're great. I mean, if I like to wear colognes and things, and their grooming products, their shaving products, they're kind of this light citrusy feel to them, and I love their moisturizing cream. I'm actually wearing Lucky Tiger lip balm right now because it's so dry here in the desert. But that still didn't sell me. What actually sold me is this is kind of funny. So I got a phone call. I was coming back from doing Jon Campea's show, and I was actually walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and I got a phone call from Mr. Alan Murphy, the CEO of Lucky Tiger. I get him on the phone, like he's at a dinner, and he calls me up and he goes, I really like what you're doing. I like your message of positivity. And I want you to, I know you're going to come work for us for Club Lucky Tiger, but I want to sponsor your channel too. I like what you're doing. And I'm like, come on, like really? And he says, yeah. So I talked to him on the phone, never met the guy. But what I'm going to be doing for them is I'm going to be doing podcasts and creating content for their new Club Lucky Tiger channel, which is kind of cool. Now, that's one thing. That's like a separate thing. But I'm like, come on, Alan, Mr. Murphy. I'm like, all right. He called me, he was sucking up to me. He's a CEO that sucks up to me. I think that's pretty cool. But I was like, all right, dude, I need to get him on the show because I want to do some hard-hitting journalism. I'm not just going to take your sponsorship without getting you on the show. So what I want you guys to do, I don't know if he'll come on the show, frankly. I mean, what I want to do is I want to do an interview with him and talk to him about this product and why are you sponsoring me? I want to know. I want to put him on the hot seat. So I might need some help from you guys. So go to here's where you got to go. They have a website. GetLuckyTiger.com is where you can buy their product. And then there's Club Lucky Tiger, their new website that I'm going to be working for. I don't know if you can actually send emails there, but you do that. And if you want me to get Alan Murphy on this show and explain to all of you why he's sponsoring me, I think that'd be kind of fun because who gets to do that? Who gets to needle a CEO of a company? I'm like biting the hand that feeds me, but also creating great content at the same time, which is pretty fantastic. So Alan Murphy, tell him he's got to come on the show. He doesn't know if he wants to come on the show. He's like shy. He doesn't really do these things. I don't know. But if he's going to be my sponsor for Robservations, we got to get him to come on because I want him to explain himself. But I do like the product. So that's cool. But so anyway, what's really interesting about this show here is they've got all the latest technology, like Christie's is here. I'm a big fan of Christie's projectors. Dolby Labs is here. Anybody that has anything to do with the exhibition business, the movie exhibition business, is here. Now, one of the things that I'm a stickler about is, of course, if you guys have seen Captain Marvel in the theater, who of you hasn't? Come on. If you were in a theater where it looked dark and murky, the same is true, by the way, of Solo. When you went to the theater and saw Solo, if you had an experience where the theater was dark and murky, or the actual image, not the theater itself, the theater is supposed to be dark. But if the image itself, it felt dark to you, like you couldn't see, or you thought the cinematography was not good, it's because the theater that you were in watching these films did not have their projector bulbs turned up to full intensity. There's actually a spec that they have to follow to get the proper luminance for your movie-going experience. But many theater chains, because the actual bulbs that go into the theater, into the projectors, they're very expensive. So the way they skimp is they actually turn down the brightness level of the bulb. So it's not as bright as it should be. And it saves, obviously, money. They might even turn it down as much as 25, even 50% if they think they can get away with it. Most people aren't aware of that. And the thing is, if you complain about it, and it's something you can tell right away, there's really no one at theaters now that can fix it. I mean, there used to be projectionists that worked every single. Now it's mostly it's computer generated, and they program it for the day, and there isn't a human being that goes in and makes these checks all the time. Now, we here in Los Angeles have theaters like the ArcLight, especially the ArcLight in Hollywood, where the presentation is usually pristine. And a lot of the AMC theaters do a really good job. They've got their Dolby theaters that are fantastic. But I did see Captain Marvel at an AMC theater one of the 3 times I saw it. The last time I saw it, it was a little dark and it was a little murky. And it kind of bummed me out, to be honest, because look, they've got one job. I know their job is to make money and sell refreshments to you, but for my money, all I care about is great presentation and great sound. That's it. And good popcorn helps. But so one of the things that's going to be interesting, I'm there's what's going on here is there's seminars every day. Today is actually International Day, and there's a lot of seminars about how local films can make money, and what they're doing to sort of expand distribution and how they can. The whole theater business and the exhibition business is in a period of flux. What's going to happen with the future of streaming? What's going to happen with the future of movies? Movie theater chains, some of them are moving into more boutique kinds of things, like the iPix Theater. They'll give you a 50-seat screen, beautiful projection, beautiful sound, and then you'll have like a wait staff and food and a full bar and really cool stuff that they're doing. And they're branching out because they have to compete with the idea of streaming. And it's the same thing that happened like in the 50s when television started to rise to prominence. Theaters, basically, movies used to look like a TV show. They were created in what's called the Academy ratio, which is basically a square. And in the 50s, in order to compete with television, the studios came up with wide screen aspect ratios like VistaVision, Super Panavision. Movie theater screens images became rectangular instead of square. Super Panavision 70. I mean, it was really incredible what the competition brought to the movie exhibition business. And that's why we have widescreen cinema today. That's why Star Trek Discovery is shot in widescreen. But it's going to be interesting to see how now movie theaters are going to have to sort of reinvent themselves once again. The studios were competing at the time, but the studios now aren't the studios can call the shots. So it's now the exhibitors and the movie theater chains that have to figure out ways to make themselves more competitive with streaming and the kind of entertainment people have access to now. There's so many different choices that how do movie theater chains keep themselves relevant and what kind of gimmicks can they come up with? So they're showing all of those here, and I'm anxious to see what they are. I have not gone onto the show floor yet, where they have a lot of the vendors here, so I can start talking to these people so I can report back to you guys what I discover. But it's going to be pretty interesting. I look, I love home theater technology. I also love movie theater technology. So, I want to hear about Atmos and I want to hear about Dolby Vision for home video. And I can't wait. So I'm like, this is my element. It's a little geeky. I don't know how interesting it's going to be to everybody out there. But for me, it's interesting. And I have to thank Jon Campea. It was his idea to come. He hooked me up with this room. He hooked me up with here's my press pass. It even says Robert Burnett from the Jon Campea Show. I feel like the Jon Campea Show has been it's so much more legitimized now in my mind because, wow, they gave us press credentials. I mean, that's pretty cool. I haven't worked on my other friends who work on YouTube shows have been getting press credentials for a long time, but this is my first press credential from anything that I've been involved with on YouTube. So one day I'm going to have press credentials that say the Burnettwork or Robservations, and people are going to stop me and go, "Hey man, I love your show." Although I will say this, I went into the Apple store here in the Caesars Forum shops and I bought an HDMI cable, and the gentleman who sold it to me goes, "Oh my God, you're Rob Burnett from the Jon Campea Show." And he goes, "I watch it with my son all the time." That was kind of crazy. I thought that was kind of neat. And I was like, "So are you going to give me the HDMI cable for, we'll just slip it to me?" And he's like, laughed, couldn't give it to me for free. I wouldn't have done that anyway. I would have paid for it. But I just want to see if he would. He wouldn't. But it was nice to know that we're getting watched even here in Las Vegas. So that is great. And it's been fun so far. I mean, I'm a little tired because I was up late last night getting in here and there was some incident in the Las Vegas airport, so I was delayed and it took me a while to get here. But now I'm here and it's great. It's Las Vegas. I've not gambled. My game, for anybody who's interested, is blackjack. I love to play blackjack, but I've not gambled since I've been here. I've just been wandering around, and Caesars is labyrinthian. It's huge. It's gigantic. It's like 2 city blocks. It's incredible. But it's fun. There's a lot going on. One of those, those kiosks in malls where guys and girls will walk up to you and try and sell you skincare products. I was accosted by one, and he noticed I had bags under my eyes, so he gave me this skin cream and then tried to sell it to me for $200. I'm like, dude, I'm trying not to spend any money here. Come on. I'm not going to buy skin cream for $200, not when I have Lucky Tiger products. Come on. So anyway, that's what I'm doing here. It's fun. It's going to be a great time. And it is my lips, by the way, are really chapped. So I'm using my Lucky Tiger lip balm, which is great. It's funny when, as a guy, I wouldn't consider myself metrosexual, but I like to groom. I like grooming products. So it's nice to have good grooming products. I've always liked good colognes. I've been sort of a stickler about the colognes. But I've never been somebody who has grooming. Like, I don't have any shaving cream. I'll use nice soaps that are I don't do that. But now I use that Lucky Tiger moisturizing product. So I look forward to venturing into that. So that'll be something else too. I'll share that with you. I'll give reviews of Lucky Tiger products. I don't even know if I can. I don't even know what it means to have a sponsor. So we'll see. But so anyway, Captain Marvel, $990 million worldwide. If I can just gloat for a minute, on the John Campea show, I said, for 3 months, 2 months, I said Captain Marvel was going to gross $1 billion. Well, John, it's going to gross $1 billion this week. And I called it. No one else called it but me. And why did it make that money? The female audience. The female audience turned out, mothers, daughters, grandmothers, they turned out and saw this movie. And first of all, I like Captain Marvel a great deal. I cop to it, and I said it's Marvel. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe's first indie movie. It was directed with an indie sensibility. Brie Larson is an indie actress, and to me, the whole movie was really about the interpersonal relationships that Carol Danvers had with all the people in her life that allowed her to come realize who and what she was, and I like that. I mean, rather than there was a bit of action, but the character, what her character hinged on was really about the relationships that she had with people, existing relationships, the new relationships she was forging with Nick Fury. I mean, I really liked that. And I thought that was a different flavor of Marvel film. And I quite enjoyed it. And I'm still getting people like, oh, it was a mediocre movie. I'm like, no, it was just different. I didn't think it was mediocre. And I really like to see whenever a genre film is successful, everybody wins out because the other studios look at it and go, oh, well, we've got to make a movie like that too. Now, hopefully we'll get good movies out of that. But I don't know what the lesson is to be learned for other franchises or other studios, but I think that female-centric films, when done correctly, I mean, you could throw back in my face, well, what about Lara Croft? That didn't do so well. But, Lara Croft is not exactly, it was kind of played out. I didn't see the new Lara Croft film. I mean, the first Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie were fine films, but it's not, no one was clamoring for a new Tomb Raider movie. But I think people are clamoring for more female superheroes. I mean, I have heard, and I have no confirmation of this, that Black Widow is deep into pre-production in London, and it's supposed to start shooting in May. Even now, that has not been announced. I've heard that from somebody who's working in England. They could be wrong. Maybe they're not shooting at Pinewood. Maybe they're shooting in Atlanta. I have no idea. But it'll be interesting, and I think getting a Black Widow film out is going to be great. I think it's going to do equally as good as Captain Marvel. I think it's going to be something that people want to see. I'm certainly looking forward to a Black Widow movie. So yeah, so that's basically my introduction to why I'm here in Las Vegas. And I didn't pull up any letters to read, but I've got some good ones. You guys, you're doing me proud with the letters, I have to say. They're fantastic. And for all of you who want to send me letters, please send them to the Burnettwork.net, my website. Go to the website. That's the best place I've found to get letters from people, because sometimes they wind up in my spam folder if you send them to my direct email address. So the Burnettwork.net, keep those letters coming. And I swear to God, you guys are actually trying to make me cry with these letters. It's like you're trying to outdo each other. And when I get a letter about someone's hot toy collection or about Star Trek or something, thank God, because I don't know how much I can cry with I feel like I've become the Oprah of geekdom or something, which isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing, but it's like I've said, it's a byproduct of this channel that I'm getting these letters that I was unprepared for the emotional response. I mean, the Post-Geek Singularity, you people are some thoughtful human beings, and I'm proud to know all of you, if only through these chats. So let's go and see what you have today. I will be back to reading letters tomorrow. I just want to see if this whole thing even worked here in Vegas. Obviously, the window's blown out, so you can't see behind me. But as with last night, I will lift up the camera and I will show you the view out the window. So let's see first of all who is actually here in the chat. Who's a lot of people are here. Like I said, Goalie Dad, first guy here. And how funny is it that you asked me about the Dolby party? And there I was on it. So thank you for that. That was very fun. So let's see what we got here. Who do we got? Who do we got here asking questions? And Keaton Toothman is here, and Keaton Toothman was here last night too. I did a test. I was going to be on just a test for like a minute. Of course, you guys kept me here live for 20 minutes, which was hilarious. Hey, buddy, how was the whiskey? I didn't have any whiskey. I didn't have any whiskey last night. I did not, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, I'm trying to lay off the sauce, so no whiskey, unfortunately. But by the way, it's really hard not to drink in this casino because everywhere you go, there are these beautiful, beautiful bars. I mean, they've really stepped it up here. It's high class all the way, and they just have giant bars full of every spirit you could possibly want. And I have not been doing that. I've drank a lot of coffee though today, so I'm a little zinged up on coffee, which is good. And my voice is a little scratchy because I had 3 hours of sleep. But other than that, not going to have any whiskey though. Southias85 is here. Hey, Mr. B, stay away from sketchy corners in Vegas. Bring this idea up with Mr. C, a John and Rob vlog series on the functions and events you guys go to when you guys talk about movies out and about. I'll tell you something. John, I'm not going to say what it is, but John Campea came up with a show idea that he did a whole pitch deck for. It's an amazing idea along the lines of what you're describing. And he's even lining up sponsors, and it should happen because it's a great idea. And I hope he does it. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, people suggest, I was told this weekend at WonderCon, I should take the Robservations out on the road and go discover America and like drive around the country for 2 months, and then maybe even go to Europe. I've never been to Sarajevo. If Vesna will show me around, I mean, go to Sarajevo or go to Canada and hang out with Willow Yang, and go to her lab, but then interview people. Like, what's it like being a molecular biologist, or how does that work? And it would be a lot of fun to do that. And like, as I said, go meet all of you, just go to different cities and places. I think that would be a lot of fun. Keaton Toothman says, I have an 82-inch 4K HD TV. Been using Xbox One to play my 4K discs. Want to upgrade to something that will give me a better quality. Better quality than an 82-inch 4K HD TV? I don't know. Is it LCD? Because I hate LCD. OLED is what I would suggest. I mean, I can't imagine. I'd love to see your TV. What brand is it? Who makes it? But LG is really the only company that makes OLED displays. They're pretty expensive. I want to get a 77-inch Panasonic OLED set, but they're not in the United States yet. I'm still running it in my bedroom, like for instance, a 65-inch Panasonic Plasma. That's my favorite TV I've ever owned. But I want to upgrade to a larger OLED 4K set. But it's still too cost prohibitive. I can't get the set I want yet. So, I mean, if I want to pay $12,000, I can get it from the UK. But, again, I can't get it here, which is a bummer. Dim-Sum05 says, have you seen the Dead Don't Die trailer? It dropped today. That's the Jim Jarmusch has made a zombie movie. One of the great indie filmmakers of the last 30 years has made a zombie movie. I cannot believe it. I have not seen the trailer. I was going to watch it before I came on today, but I was trying to set things up and see how it all was going to work. I have not. I'm dying. I can't believe Jim Jarmusch made a zombie film. That's incredible. Amazing. Chris Douglas says, I started watching Manifest. I think it's great. Well, I don't even know if it got renewed. Manifest was on the bubble. I don't think it's great, but I liked the characters. It's just their premise. They have no idea what to do with it. and they don't. You're going to be frustrated because they don't tell you anything about it. You learn that there's shadowy government organizations, but even they don't know. The writers of the show clearly don't know what happened to that plane. It went through a time warp for 5 years. They don't know why. They don't know who did it. Was it man-made? And then they came up. You'll see. I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's an extra added spin about time jumps later on in the season. And then the finale was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It talk about jumping the shark. I wish Henry Winkler jumped a shark on water skis in his leather jacket, because that would have been better than the end of Manifest, which was just bad with a capital BAD. Terrible. Jonathan Peck says, I'm planning to watch the new Twilight Zone tonight. They put the first episode on YouTube. Oh, did they? Well, then I can watch it. I think we're going to have to talk about the Twilight Zone, because if you haven't read that Entertainment Weekly review, which eviscerated the show, but I've read some good things. Look, I want it to be good. The Twilight Zone, the original, is one of my favorite things in the world. I really wanted it to be good, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Hope springs eternal. Anthony Gonzalez says, can you recommend some underrated film scores? Oh, yes, I can. First of all, top of my list, Rachel Portman's score to Never Let Me Go. Now, it won't mean as much to you if you haven't seen the film. I'm always talking about Never Let Me Go, directed by Mark Romanek. It's so good. It's based on a novel. It is a science fiction movie, but it's a very lyrical, beautiful science. It's a quiet science fiction film. The score is unbelievable. No one talks about that movie. They should talk about that movie. I can't recommend it highly enough, but that's a great score. By the way, shout out to La La Land Records. This is not an underrated film score, but I finally picked up the new disc. La La Land Records, they had a booth at WonderCon. I talked to one of the owners, and I picked up the 3-disc Superman the Movie soundtrack. Now, the reason it's 3 discs is one of the discs is the original soundtrack album in sequence, remastered. But the other 2 discs are the full score with added tracks and including alternate tracks that we've never heard before. It's unbelievable. I've owned Superman the Movie since 1978, and every incarnation it's come out in. I had the LP, I had various versions of the score on CD. This disc is so stunning in terms of its remaster. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you love John Williams, if you love Superman the Movie, this score is one of his best. It's such a great score, and hearing alternate tracks, like there's a different main title and opening, there's a different Planet Krypton track. It's great stuff. You got to get that. Another, it's not really underrated, but the score to Amelie is one of my favorite scores. I love that score. You know what score is really good? Is Pacific Rim. The score for Pacific Rim by Ramon Dewji, I can't pronounce his name, the composer who does the Game of Thrones theme, he scored Pacific Rim, and it's great. There's a lot of electric guitar in it, which you don't usually hear electric guitar take front and center in an action film score like it does, but it's pretty good. I mean, if you like the movie, I adore Pacific Rim. Not so much the sequel, but I love the original Pacific Rim. It's so good. So that score is dope. But you know, it's very different. Like Superman, Never Let Me Go, are lyrical scores. Pacific Rim's more kick-ass. You know what other score I really like? The score for Fury Road. Junkie XL score for Fury Road. The only thing is, if you play it in your car, it'll make you want to drive really fast, so it's actually a danger to other motorists. But it is an incredible score. I love that score. Other underrated film scores. Gosh, underrated. One of my favorite Jerry Goldsmith scores is Capricorn 1 from 1977. I don't know if you've ever heard that score or seen the movie. It's a goofy, great 70s conspiracy thriller. It's got Elliot Gould. It's got Karen Black. It's got Telly Savalas. It's great. Hal Holbrook gives a 5-minute speech, which is amazing, about the space program. You got to see that. But the score is incredible. The score for Jaws 2, not the original Jaws, great score there, but the score for Jaws 2, even better than the first. It's great. John Williams score, not a lot of people think about Jaws 2 when they think about having a great score, but John Williams knocked it out of the park. So those are, I mean, I could think of a lot more. I'd have to go through my record collection, or pardon me, my CD collection. Suthius is back. Are you a fan of the Cirque du Soleil? I love it, but I've never seen a show. Tickets are a little pricey. If you can, give the show in Vegas a try. I think there's a number of Cirque du Soleil shows, but there's a Beatles one, right? I think I just saw a sign for it. It's across the street. I would totally go see that. I don't know if I'm going to have time. Willow Yang says, did you do any gambling? If so, which games? Like spoken like a true Chinese person, Willow. Yes, I love gambling. Blackjack is my game. I love playing it. The first time I ever went to Vegas, my father took me on a father-son outing when I turned 21. And he showed me how to play blackjack for like 3 weeks. We played blackjack. My dad was a great gambler. He didn't lose. He was really good. And he just showed me how to play blackjack, told me, like, what do you do when you have 2 8s? The answer is you always split them. Unless, of course, I mean, you always split 8s, but there's rules to blackjack. And he showed me, and for like 3 weeks. And then he gave me $20, and I turned that $20 into $450 when I was 21 years old. So blackjack is really the only game I play because it feels like you're playing a game that has strategy, and I'm terrible at poker. But in terms of playing against the house, I love blackjack. But I have not gambled at all. I have not put my card into an ATM machine. But I'm going to. I'm going to play a little blackjack, but not much. Topher Rock says, seems like you're having a great time. I love how Jon is including you more in things. Curious, what are some things you've learned from Jon? Well, I'll tell you something. I did a panel, Jon, when we first started doing The Weekly Hero after Jon Schnepp passed away. Jon Campea had a panel at Comic-Con about YouTubing. And honestly, when I was on Collider Heroes, I would just show up and sit down. I knew nothing about streaming. I did it, but I didn't do it myself. So everything from lighting setups to, everything you need to know about podcasting. And Jon is still teaching me. He hit me to Wirecast software. I've got this Wirecast switcher that I'm getting ready to start upping my game. I keep saying I'm going to do that, but I haven't had time to really delve into knowing how to. It's really like having a professional TV studio at your fingertips. Jon uses it for the Jon Campea show. It's great. And so I've learned a lot, pretty much everything I need to know about the YouTube space from Jon, which is great because I knew nothing about it. Analytics, how to deal with, because if you're on YouTube, the idea is you try and make a living doing it. Otherwise, why do it? It's fun to talk, but you also want to augment, because when you're at home talking on YouTube, everything around you, your rent, your power, your internet connection, it's all things that you have to pay for. And if you're not getting some kind of recompense to do it, you go in the hole. You actually lose money. And that's why it's so great to have you guys who send in super chats. That's the way we keep our channels supported. And, buy new equipment. I bought new lights and things like that. And there's a light. I brought it so you can see my eyes. I brought it from home so I wouldn't be totally dark. But it's great. And so Jon has pretty much taught me everything I know about the YouTube space, which I find fascinating. Obviously, the byproduct is everything that's happened with you guys here, the members of the Post-Geek Singularity community. It's really interesting to me that I've now got a dialogue. People are sending me letters literally from all over the world. They come in from all over the place. I mean, not just Willow writing me incredible letters from Canada, but Vesna writes me great letters from Bosnia, and I'm getting letters from India, Germany. Dieter has sent me a few letters from Germany. The UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia. I get letters from all over the place. I did not know that this was going to happen. And I mean, I guess I was naive in that regard. But what I also didn't understand what was going to happen is how respectful and nice you guys have been. I mean, and I think one of the important things that we're doing with this community is I want a place, and I didn't know this when I started. I'm like, I'll just go on YouTube and see how it goes. But now I feel, not only do I feel that I have a responsibility to everybody that comes here every day, but I've really been touched and moved by how you guys have treated each other. I've seen like a lot of you are developing relationships with one another within these chat boards, and I think that's really cool. I mean, I never wanted to be some kind of prophet or cult leader. I just want to be nice to people and talk about shit we all love. That was my motivation. But I didn't realize that what's sort of built up, and you know, that's what life's about. Like I've always told you, I'm always saying that, well, isn't it great when you find people that share your own interests? And I always say when you meet somebody new, they have a story to tell that you haven't heard yet. Well, that has been bared out 100% since I've been here talking to you guys. And it's great because look what we're going into. It is April, people. This perhaps is not since 1982, the summer of 82, have we had geek nirvana. This is like if there was a geek rapture where we didn't have to disappear, where we're just going to be in a state of rapture, that is April 2019. Check it out. We got Shazam opening. We got Hellboy opening. We got Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is 13 days away. Season 8. And then we've got Endgame. We got, I mean, geek nirvana. There's all kinds of other stuff happening in April. It's amazing. I'm going, by the way, I will be in Wenatchee on April 13th at, I think it's called WenCon in Wenatchee, Washington. So, you know, if you live close in Washington State, or even if you want to come over from Idaho, if you're in Coeur d'Alene or something, or Spokane, drive into central Washington, come to Wenatchee. And it's only a day con. It's only on a Saturday. I'm probably going to get there Friday afternoon. Hopefully I'll be doing something interesting there, but I'm definitely going to do a broadcast from the convention. Maybe I'll walk around and interview people or something, because I love going to smaller conventions that are put on locally. It's not like San Diego, which is this big behemoth. But going to local conventions is one of my favorite things to do, because what's really interesting is when I was up in Fort Collins a couple of years ago with Richard Hatch and Gigi Edgley, we went together. We were the 3 guests of honor. First of all, it was a really well-run convention. The people were great. I loved Fort Collins, Colorado. Talk about a place to drink. There's like 300 distilleries within a couple hours of Fort Collins and Denver, which I did not know. I developed a fascination and love for sour beers up there because I'd never had one. And of course, everybody in Fort Collins is an expert on their favorite whiskey or their favorite beer. So that was that was incredible. But local conventions are great. So if you can make it, WenCon is the place to come. Man, my voice is shot. But anyway, so check it out. Let's see. I just saw somebody else send in a question. Suthius again. You had me at Seminosuke. I love the Onimusha games, all 4 of them. They were my jam, and I was obsessed. I'd always hoped for a live-action movie. You know, for Onimusha was it's the game I couldn't think of when I was talking about Devil May Cry. When Onimusha came out, I played the first Onimusha because I got a PlayStation 2. And my girlfriend at the time had bought me a PlayStation 3, and I replaced my PlayStation 2. But I loved those Capcom games. I loved Devil May Cry, and I especially loved Onimusha. And you know, I said before, Enterbay makes a really great Seminosuke figure. It's a great 6-scale figure, really amazing. It's expensive now in the secondary market if you're going to try and get it. But it is great. Let's see. Vesna's here. Will you get that Robservations card next year, Robert? I don't know. Johnny West is here. It'll be funny. It'll be funny to see at the end of the day on both Rob and John turn off the green screen, or they say Happy April Fool's Day, realizing they never left California. No, we are actually in Las Vegas. I will pick up this during this chat because I'm mobile. Because I'm on the wireless network in the hotel. Back at home, I'm on a hard line, but I am wireless here. But I'm not on a 4K camera, so that's good. Vesna asked if I did attend panels. Yes, as a matter of fact, International Day, I was at a panel before I did this show called "Don't Turn a Blind Eye on Local Content and Productions," which was actually pretty good, really interesting. And then I went to Better Business Through Reaction Management. That was actually, it was a guy who would help turn a lot of bars and restaurants around that weren't doing so well, because exhibition is really a service industry. So it was all interesting. It wasn't my jam, but I was curious to go. And there's a lot of really interesting seminars. I mean, I want to go to things, again, technically minded things like Dolby and stuff. So I will be going to those seminars, but they are frankly a little dry because I'm on the production side of things. So, but they were good. I mean, they were interesting. So yeah, I was down. There's some new people in this chat, which is pretty good. Haskell 420 is here. Dims the bulb, saves the money. Yes. Daniel Escandura says, "Hey Rob, did you return Mike Tyson's tiger to find Doug yet?" No. That's hilarious. I love the first Hangover movie. I thought it was great. James Dodd said, "Hope you're enjoying Vegas, Rob. Shame the Star Trek experience isn't there anymore." I know. As many of you may not, or if you don't know this already, I worked on the Star Trek experience for 2 years. I cut all the videos that they originally had in the attraction, which was really, really cool. I'm sorry it's gone. I don't have copies of those videos, unfortunately. I never did once I turned them in. Fergal Kelly says, "Hey Rob, sent this on Friday, but I think that you missed it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thanks for sending it again. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support. I mentioned that my son, who's 14, has just devoured the Lord of the Rings, and he was wondering if you have any omnibus com books that's similar." Okay. Here's one. The Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever. Might be a little now a 14-year-old. I think I read it when I was 14. That's another fantasy series that I thought was really, really good. Stephen R. Donaldson wrote it. I don't know if it was a big deal. Everybody read that one. And of course, the Sword of Shannara books. The first one, the Sword of Shannara, it's kind of a Lord of the Rings. It's by Terry Brooks. Those are great. But if you like science fiction, I would recommend reading Dune, Children of Dune, and Dune Messiah, or is it Dune Messiah and then Children of Dune? The Dune books are great. The original Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov, but it is really hard to beat. I'm gonna have a glass of water because my voice is shot. It is hard to beat the Lord of the Rings books. Had you seen the movie before? Are you going to go back and watch some movies together? I'd be curious if he's going to be like, "Why didn't they put Tom Bombadil in the movie?" That would be an interesting thing to hear. Let's see. Dax Jacobson says, "I watched the movie. It had the old woman from Red Sparrow, the one who runs the schools. Very sad. There's no program for Clones in Love." Don't spoiler alert, dude. Dax is talking about Never Let Me Go. It is so tragic, and you got to see it. It's just watch it. It's great. Haskell 420 is still. Oh please, Dax. Only fake Fox News is Fox News. And all their lies, BS, and manipulation of facts. Now, come on, Haskell. I don't know what Dax said, but be respectful. Everybody. You guys are not fake news like CNN. CNN. Look, there's really no such thing as fake news. I mean, news is always in the eye of the beholder, really. But we'll see. Terry Flynn is here. By the way, Terry Flynn's becoming quickly one of my favorite people in these chats. Not that you aren't all. You look metrosexual to me. Yum. Laugh out loud. Well, thanks, Terry. I appreciate that. I like to be metrosexual, Hit 4 jacks for over 7K and a straight flush for 6K. You know what, Haskell? If I won $7,000, you know what I would do? I would go straight to the Sideshow Toy website, and I would spend it all on hot toys that I'm missing. That's no lie. I would totally do that. Oh, don't tell Elizabeth, though, because she can't know. And I'd have to have it shipped to a P.O. box or something so I could sneak it into the garage at night. Something like that. No, it's okay. I tell her everything I do. Midnight's Edge is here. Congrats. You nailed the box office on that one. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Love you guys, by the way. Haskell 420 says, "Hey, Rob, speaking of $1 billion, did you see the article that says Endgame may make $1 billion opening weekend?" I think it's possible, but here's the thing. I think Endgame is going to, I said on John's show, I said it's going to make $2.5 billion if it's good. And I think it probably is. But here's the interesting thing. There's only so many movie theaters in the world. So even if they kept them open for 24 hours, how much could they really rake in? I don't know, probably a lot, because I'll probably see it 2 or 3 times. I just know that I see it the morning after. Actually, it's not the morning show. I see the second show the day after the premiere, which is what I went with. I saw Infinity War the same way, which I was glad, because it was before it opened. It was before any reviews hit, and I went in completely unspoiled. I knew nothing about it, and it was a joyous experience. Spider Assassin is here. Hey, Rob, how are you, Spider Assassin? Why do you kill spiders? Or are you a spider assassin that kills other things, or do you just kill spiders? I don't know, but I like that. That sounds cool. Midnight Judge says Bumblebee, female centric, done right. Couldn't agree more. Bumblebee, by the way, for all of these folks keeping score at home, gets released on Blu-ray and 4K tomorrow. I'm excited about that. So that's good. Let's see. It's hard. I don't have it's hard scrolling down the questions with my touchpad. I'm so used to having my mouse, which I don't have. OG Deadbolt says Black Widow will do better because she's an established favorite, and the people who didn't like Brie Larson will be going. Well, I agree. I don't know who, the people who didn't like Brie Larson. I can understand that. Different tastes, for different people. Willow asks, which panel at Cinemacon am I most excited for? I don't know yet, because I haven't really seen all the panels. Only today's panel. I know I answered that question earlier, but there's lots of. I'm more interested in tech panels, like projectors, sounds. I want to see what Dolby. Really, it's all about Dolby for me. Willow says that I am the Oprah of geekdom. I just don't want a Dr. Phil. That's all. Jonathan Peck says hello, Robert. Hello, Jonathan. Dark Knight 1998 says, hey, Rob, how's Vegas? For those of you who don't remember, my biological mother, who's now passed away, I met her in Vegas because she worked here. She was the director of production at the MGM Grand. So in the 90s, I was here all the time. But Vegas is completely different now. It's so built up, and there's a zip line across the street. I got to go on the zip line across the street. I don't know where it goes, but I think it's like above the Flamingo Hilton is where the first place I came to Vegas. Donnie and Marie are playing there. That's where my dad took me, was the Flamingo Hilton. That's where I played my first game of blackjack as a 21-year-old. But Donnie and Marie are at the Flamingo Hilton, and apparently there's a zip line there. I mean, there's a Vanderpump Rules bar and restaurant downstairs. There's Gordon Ramsay across the street. I mean, maybe there'll be a Robservations geek bar in Vegas. That's my new, I want to call it toy bar. And all I want to do is fill it with action figures, and that'll be how I can finally get free Hot Toys stuff. I'll have them all displayed. I want to have and it'll just be called Toy Bar, and I'll be behind the bar, and I'll have great bartenders working for me, and that's what we'll do. You can come in Vegas and come to Toy Bar. Robservations presents Toy Bar, and I'm just going to be there talking to you guys all day, and we'll live stream 24/7. Live stream out to the world. You'll never know what's going to happen. I'll have celebrity guest stars. Will somebody fund this? Maybe Lucky Tiger. If Lucky Tiger wants to have the Lucky Tiger Robservations Toy Bar here in Vegas, we should do that. And it'll be great because in the bathrooms, it'll be filled with Lucky Tiger men's grooming products, and they'll be free because it'll be sponsored by them. So you don't have to, and you'll be able to shave. And I don't know what the girls are going to do. I don't know if Lucky Tiger, to be honest, has female grooming products. I don't think they do. If they do, I'm sorry. I apologize. But in Toy Bar, we'll have free girls grooming products too. I just don't know who's going to provide for them. So if anyone out there wants to open the Robservations Toy Bar in Vegas, I'm down. So you guys should, because I think it's a good idea. Suthius85 is back again. My oldest, who is 9, does well with movies over 2 hours, having to pee every once in a while. Oh boy, Endgame is going to be a challenge for him to sit through. One word, dude, catheter. I'm bringing mine. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. People wouldn't like it. It'd get a little weird in the theater. Haskell420 says, hi, Rob. Have fun in Lost Wages. Laugh out loud. Bet with your head, not over it. Is the Disney panel exhibit tomorrow? I think Warner Brothers is tomorrow. I think Disney is Wednesday. I'm looking forward to both. I had to call up. Here's a shout out to Rogers & Cowan, who is the publicity company that's putting this on. I had to send an email to Rogers & Cowan to get I had to get International Day tickets, and I had to get tickets to the Warner event, and they have been very, very helpful. This is an extremely well-organized and well-run event, at least from my perspective now. So kudos to everybody who put it on. It's pretty cool, which I think is great. Stubble McShave is here. I love Stubble McShave now that I know you're in Sweden. Not that I didn't love you before. I figured because your last name is McShave that you were Irish or Scottish, but it was nice to find out you're in Sweden. Stubble McShave says, for me, the most intriguing thing happening in April is JordanCon, where we'll hopefully get some news on the Wheel of Time series. That's cool. I didn't know there was a JordanCon. That is the author of the Wheel of Time books. That's pretty cool. Pleasant Valley Picker Canada says, making any contacts in Vegas, Rob? Maybe some funding for Free Enterprise 2. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd love to. I'd love to find somebody to finance Free Enterprise 2. But it's a little iffy. Vegas has better investments here. Like, I don't know. Spider Assassin says, hey, Rob, how did you get into the movie business? Well, it's something I always wanted to do. I went to film school, and then I just worked my way up. My first job was I was a production assistant on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface, and I went from there. Victor Acosta says, I loved the Zone of the Enders games on PS2. Really missed those. I never played those. That sounds good. Mohammed Hassan is here. Robert, have you played Spider-Man PS4? I have not played it yet. I desperately want to. Sophie, my girlfriend's daughter, has it and plays it all the time. It looks incredible. But I just played it for a brief, short moment, and I would love to try it. It's great. Pleasant Valley Picker, California says, Rob's video quality is really good. That's good because this is an old computer that I brought with me. Nacho Man Andy Cabbage says, I love Sexhibition. Is that something here in Vegas? It sounds like something that would be here. Let's see. I keep jumping around all over the place. Pre-live teaser says, I watched The Thing in 89, a bit late to the party. Really? It took you that long? That's 7 years from the time it came out. That's crazy. I love The Thing, by the way. It's great. Ali Sulabai, watching you from Baghdad, Rob. You are awesome. Keep it going. All the way from Baghdad? That is incredible. I have a question for you, Ali. What's the American movie scene like in Baghdad? Can you see American movies? And if so, I would love it. Do they have movie posters? Because I collect foreign movie posters. I would love to get a cool American movie poster, but in Farsi or however it's printed. Well, it's great, Ali, to have you all the way from Baghdad. That is cool. How is Baghdad now? I've always wanted to see that area of the world, and I'm not scared to go. I'd love to come see it. I'd love to come to Iraq and Iran too, because they have a big car culture, and I know you guys have had troubles in the past, but I'd love to come out and visit. But that's so cool that you're watching in Iraq. That's so bizarre. I mean, how cool is that Ali's in Iraq? Just Plain Steve is here, joining the party late today because job as a group leader at a GM assembly plant requires me to rotate shifts. How cool is that? You're a group leader in an assembly plant. You build cars. That's rad. Have you ever had a haunted car come off the assembly line like Christine? Do you think that could ever happen? Or did that only happen in like 53? Because I'd like to believe somebody should do a remake of Christine, but make it and by the way, are there Transformers? Do you have Transformers? Because I know that the Michael Bay movies only had GM cars that were Transformers. Because I'd love to see like a Camaro, turn into a Transformer. Because has that ever happened? Because that'd be great. Off-topic question says, Just Plain Steve, what are some jobs you've held outside of movies? To be honest with you, none. Because I started working in a video store when I was 13 years old. And all of the jobs I had, I worked from the time I was 13 to the time I was in college as a video retailer. I went from working into video. As a 13 and 14-year-old, I was actually selling VCRs to people when they were brand new. And then also renting movies. And then I transitioned in 86, 87, 88. I was a Laserdisc retailer at Seattle's Silver Platters. And then I moved to Los Angeles. And my first job I went to college, and then my first job in Los Angeles was working on Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And so I've only ever worked in the movie business, first of all, in independent cinema, and then I worked at agencies. I mean, I've done different things. I was a script reader, a story analyst, and I worked at both CAA and William Morris, and I've been a film editor. I cut trailers. So I've done different things, but I've always worked in the movie business. That's all I've ever really done. And now I'm a YouTube star, which is kind of weird. Karen Troop has sent me a super chat, and she says, "Here's bone for Iron Maiden." Is Iron Maiden coming to town? Or you want me to spend that on the new Infinity War Iron Man armor, the Iron Man Mark 50 that I have to get, the nanotech armor? That thing is $400. I pre-ordered it. I don't have the money to pick it up right now, but hey, who's not going to want that? Jonathan Peck has sent me a very nice super chat. Thank you, Jonathan, on this April Fool's Day. Jonathan has a great answer. Here's some great underrated film scores. Alexander Desplat, Godzilla, Danny Elfman, Midnight Run, Hans Zimmer, Backdraft, and Sherlock Holmes, Alan Silvestri, Death Becomes Her, John Williams, Born on the 4th of July. You know what? You just reminded me of something else. I think Bruce Broughton did the score for Young Sherlock Holmes. I loved the score for Young Sherlock Holmes. Stubble McShave says, pick one movie, Tarantino Joker or Scorsese Batman. That's rough, dude. That's a rough choice. But since you're giving me the choice, I'm going to take the Tarantino. No, Scorsese Batman. I think it'd be interesting. It would be sprawling. And you can't, Scorsese, but a Tarantino Joker movie, that would be pretty dope. I must admit. I can't not want to see those now. Crixus Maximus is here. You know, Crixus, I actually thought about you today because I was wandering around the pool area. There were the Caesars, you know, all these sculptures. And I thought, I bet Crixus Maximus would like this. How much would you all put up to group fund for James Earl Jones to just say, all I am surrounded by is fear and dead men? I mean, I would love him to say that, but just as Darth Vader. By the way, Field of Dreams has been announced for 4K. How excited are we all? Sky the Amazing Guy says, Rob, my man, Sky the Amazing Guy, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for letting me be your man. Is that like the Wham song, I'm Your Man? Because I'm a huge Wham fanatic. I love George Michael. May he rest in peace. Uncle Remus is here. Go say hi to Chumley at the pawn shop. I would love to do that. Which pawn shop? Doesn't Vegas have like 100 pawn shops? I would actually do that. If I knew a pawn shop, I will go to that pawn shop. I will go and I will record myself saying hi to Chumley, but I have no idea which pawn shop that's at, because Uncle Remus, I would do that because that would be a fun thing to do just for you people on the chat. I'll put it up. You know what I'll do? If I know which pawn shop it is, send it. If you know, send it to me on the Burnettwork. Send me an email and send me an email to the Burnettwork, and I will go find Chumley and I will record it. I'll do it live. I'll make a live stream and go find Chumley at the pawn shop. You know what? I'll even buy something I don't need, something, and it'll be the first. You know what I'll do? I'll buy something at the pawn shop, and because I was trying to give stuff away to everybody who would ever give me super chats or support my Patreon thing, but it didn't. No one seemed that interested. But it would be funny to do that, to do some live that only people that are viewing this channel live would know about. I'll go see Chumley at the pawn shop, and that would be pretty funny. Which would be great. Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, South Las Vegas Boulevard. I'm there. I'm going to go see Chumley. I got to find out when Chumley's working hours are, and I'll have to explain to him that I was told to come visit him, and I have to put it on the channel. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go find Chumley. I will do it before I leave. So probably not today, but maybe tomorrow. Real Girl 26 is here. What happened to THX? I haven't heard anything about it in a while. That is a good question. That was a Lucasfilm program, but I don't know what happened to it. That's worth investigating. I'm gonna have to find that out. I don't know. That is a really good question. Now I want to know. Today's cultural news. Hey, long time no talk. I'm still watching your shows, my man. You're doing a great job, and I predict you're going to be huge, famous. I want to see you direct a Star Trek flick. You know what? From your mouth to God's ears. I would love to direct a Star Trek movie, and I'd keep the price down too. I'd make it for less than. You know what? I could make a great Star Trek movie for $75 million. You heard it here first. I need to make another movie though. Before that, I made a movie once 20 years ago. No one's going to trust me with that money. Although let me finish Tango Shalom because I think you're going to like it. Jason McKibben says, "Dude, Geek Bar. That is a grand idea, dude. Even Geek Bar. We can just call it Geek Bar, but it has to have the geekiest name ever. A name that is highbrow geek. It can't be Big Bang Theory geek. We got to go highbrow. Maybe we'll just call it Post-Geek Singularity. I don't know. But we got to go highbrow. It's got to have a name that only true dyed-in-the-wool geeks know. Because we can't have... Look, and by the way, the bar will be open to anyone. We don't want to be elitist about it. But the name can be elitist. We can go geek elite when it comes to the name of whatever the bar is. Wait, I haven't seen this. Haskell says, "Sorry, Rob, but please boot or block this SOB for his comment from One Bridge 11. I hope Jon Schnepp is burning in hell." Wait, I didn't see that. Where is that? Did somebody say that? Who would say that about my man Jon Schnepp? Why would anybody say that about Jon Schnepp? I don't know where that is, but what a dick thing to say in my that's terrible. I don't know who said that. I don't see it. I don't see. Oh, here he is. Well, you know what? I'm banning you right now. You're out, buddy. Why would you say that to me? That's a You're out. You're banned. Why would you say that? Jon Schnepp was a great man and a great friend. Thank you, Haskell 420, for saying that. That is not good. Jason McKibben says, "Weird question." There are no weird questions. Do you remember the indie film The Chocolate War, filmed in Bellevue, Juanita of Washington State in the 80s? Keith Gordon's first directing gig. Talk about a soundtrack. First of all, The Chocolate War was based on a book by a man named Robert Cormier, and I own The Chocolate War on DVD. It stars Jenny Wright from Near Dark, and one of the kids, I can't remember his name, but he later went on to co-star in Weird Science. I love The Chocolate War. John Glover is not crazy, but like the headmaster of the Catholic boys' school. If you guys, you know what? It's in my list of C's when I did my movie countdown by letter, which I stopped at F. The Chocolate War was in my list of C's. So if you go back and watch one of my early Robservations chats, I talk about The Chocolate War. I love The Chocolate War. It's one of my favorite teen films of the 80s. It's pretty dark. I mean, when I say it's dark, it's not dark like there's heroin addicts shooting up and people are shooting. It's not that kind of dark, but it's a great movie. And it was Keith Gordon's. It was his. Keith Gordon was in Dress to Kill. Keith Gordon starred in Christine. Keith Gordon was in Jaws 2. He starred in All That Jazz as the young Joe Gideon. And he became a director in his own right. He also directed another fine film called A Midnight Clear. But if you haven't seen The Chocolate War, I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. And yes, it has great 80s bands like Yaz on the soundtrack. It's really, really, really good. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Bill Barkley, thank you. I did block him. I'm sorry I didn't see that soon enough. Bunyan Snipe asks, have you thought about turning Star Trek Federation into a source book for the role-playing game? I have not. That's a good idea. Here's the thing. I never want to run afoul of CBS and their licensing again. So I would want to get their permission to do something like that. But for those who don't know, Star Trek Federation was based on an idea that I had that I was kicking around with Brian Singer and Chris McQuarrie. And then Jeffrey Thorne, who's written he's a TV writer, producer now. Jeffrey Thorne wrote it all up. You can find it online. It was my our pitch for a Star Trek TV series set in the 30th century about a Federation in the decline. So look that up. I'm sure it's online somewhere. Ali Sue, is it Sulabi? Is it Labib? I don't want to get, I'm sure I got it wrong. But you answer from all the way from Iraq. You've come back. Hi, Rob. Yeah, they show all the American movies here. Actually, we show some movies here sometimes before the U.S. Like I remember watching The Force Awakens a day before the U.S. got it. Well, that's pretty cool. Just Plain Steve says of his job at the GM plant, sadly, no Transformers or haunted cars, but now I want to see a movie about a possessed Transformer. I run the paint shop here, so just car skeletons. Well, that's cool. Is it mostly automated now? Because I've always wanted to like hold one of those big spray containers and paint a car. It's one of those things I want to do. If I ever had a job outside the movie business, I think I'd go work for Earl Scheib and paint cars, just because I think that would be kind of fun. Because it would be kind of fun. Let's see. Tom Grokett says, the JJ films got me into Star Trek. I loved his trilogy. I watched Undiscovered Country the other day, and it was great. Now I love Star Trek. The main score for the JJ films is fantastic. Michael, you can't go wrong. Michael Giacchino's score. I love that. Enterprising Young Men, I think is what the track is called when they go to the Enterprise. I like that. Jennifer Jones is here. Hello, Jennifer. Justin Towns says, Jennifer Jones says, Justin Towns, here's to Schnepp. We love and miss you. We absolutely do. I miss Jon Schnepp every day. I started this channel really because it was Jon Schnepp's idea. So it's not alcoholic, but here's to Jon Schnepp. Today's cultural news says, who wants to see Rob direct or write for Star Trek? This is the guy we need to write great Trek. Actually, I'd love to work with somebody like maybe Bill Hunt, or someone to write a great Star Trek script. I'd like to get somebody like a Steve Zalian to write a Star Trek script. I think that would be great. Or you know who I'd love to work with on a Star Trek script? I don't think he would do it, but Aaron Sorkin. Because to me, The West Wing is the closest we've had to a Star Trek series, even though it's not a Star Trek series. It sort of espouses the idea. And Haskell 420 says, this guy pissed you off. Don't like someone fine, but want that great, kind man who did more to geekdom than people know and stressed to be proud of what you love. It's true, man. I mean, I kind of feel I'm taking up the mantle of Jon Schnepp and making this the Post-Geek Singularity environment, an inclusive one that anybody can be a part of. Jason McKibben says, the Chocolate War filmed at my old school, Sammamish, and other spots. I worked on that film for about 2 weeks. I'm in a few scenes with Adam Baldwin. My dialogue is cut and dubbed over with Peter Gabriel. Oh, really? Another great person on the soundtrack. You know, my mother lives right behind Sammamish High School, even now. They recently remodeled it. The Doctor 1701A says, do you think Paramount will do another Star Trek movie outside the Kelvin timeline again? I don't know. I think it's so weird what they're doing. I mean, I'd love to see anything within the Prime timeline. I think what's going to happen with the Star Trek, whatever the Picard series ends up being called, that's going to be very telling. Very, very telling. We'll see. Josh Peterson says, do you ever think they should approach the original motion picture franchise the way they have with the new Star Wars franchise, refit the red uniforms a tad and explore other crews? Yeah, I mean, why not? The Star Trek universe is so vast, they could do that. I would love to see that happen. Fen War says, I'm back. Does that mean you're back you're trolling me again? Dark Knight says, Rob, when will we get Tango Shalom? Well, we're finishing it up. It's getting done. It's at the sound designers now, and it's being color timed, and that's great. Tom Grokut says, am I worthy of lifting Thor's hammer? Probably not. You know, I don't think I'm worthy. Just Plain Steve says 100% automated as far as the actual painting. A ton of hands-on prep work, though, since we paint 400 cars a day. That's amazing. 400 cars a day. Wow. Also, love and miss you, Schnepp. Absolutely. OG Deadbolt says CBS should make you their Star Trek czar with oversight of all shows. Well, I don't have any credibility in the television realm. That's my problem. Other than directing and editing 5 episodes of Femme Fatales. But it's pretty good. That's something. Do a search on Twitter for Green Lantern. Jon Schnepp found Green Lantern 5. It was great that Ian Sharp did that put Jon Schnepp in a recent issue of Green Lantern. It was incredible. What a tribute. John Paul says, hey, Rob, love your perspective on all things geek. Since James Gunn was rehired by Disney to finish Guardians 3, what do you think are the chances Zach comes back for Man of Steel 2? I don't know, man. I would like to see that. I loved, along with John Campea, I loved Man of Steel. I see it as a first contact story. I love it. I thought it was great. But I don't know. I'd love to see that happen. That's a really good... I mean, I liked Zack Snyder's. He brought there's a point of view to his films, whether you love them or not. I like the painterly quality of the visuals. There was something mythic about Man of Steel. I really like that. Melvin Mayo says, were you a fan of the Buck Rogers movie? I loved it as a kid. Why do you think there's never been a reboot? Yeah, I loved, especially what's great about the theatrical. First of all, for those of you who don't know, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was produced by Glenn Larson after they did Battlestar Galactica. As a matter of fact, the Earth Defense Director at Hatchet Fighters, the Thunder, I think it's called the Thunder Fighter. I just call them the Hatchet Fighters. Or maybe that's what the Draconian Marauders are. But they were originally created for Battlestar Galactica. And those are the coolest. I think those are one of my favorite, as far as fighters go, like X-Wings, Vipers. The Thunder Fighters in Buck Rogers are the coolest of all. They're so cool. I saw that movie in the theater. What's funny about the theatrical version of Buck Rogers is the opening titles have that song, Far Beyond the World We Know. And it has like women, scantily clad women writhing around on giant letters that form Buck Rogers. It was like a homage to James Bond. And that's part of the theatrical. If you get the box set, the theatrical version is when Buck first arrives on Earth, is in, which they turned into a 2-part episode, is in that box set. It's pretty funny. But I liked Buck Rogers. I mean, Buster Crabbe, who was the original Buck Rogers, came back and played. He was in an episode as an aging fighter, and it was good. I mean, Julie Newmar was in the episode Flight of the War Witch. I think she played the War Witch. I like that. But there are some really bad episodes too. And of course, the second season, they retooled the whole thing and made it like Star Trek. They had the Searcher and Hawk, and I don't know why, but I have an affinity for the show. I don't dislike it. Lloyd Bridgman says, I watched the original series in The Next Generation, not as a diehard fan, but I still liked watching it. I really enjoy the Chris Pine films, apart from they keep using time travel. Yeah, it's true. Then Jason McKibben says, Schnepp was a fucking saint, only met him once, but he was a huge inspiration to get back into writing. He was very hip to my old nonprofit, www.comicsforkids.org. I will never forget his awesomeness, and nor should you. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Haskell 420 says, I've watched AMC Movie Talk now, Collider Movie Talk since March 2011. Saw John's first show talking Guardians of the Galaxy. Fans loved him and needed more Schnepp. When he got hired, epic day for all of us. He changed geekdom forever. He really did. I mean, Jon Schnepp, you couldn't not love him if you knew him. The Doctor 1701A says, years ago, Bryan Singer was working on a Battlestar Galactica movie. Is that project dead? It's pretty dead. It's gone through different incarnations. That's when I've seen all the design work. Guy Dias, who was the production designer for X-Men 2 and Superman Returns, did some beautiful, I mean, they have a whole book of what they were going to do. And it was basically going to be a continuation of this TV series, the original series. There's some great stuff in there. Tom Grocut says, Rob, what's the most iconic superhero weapon in your opinion? You know, that's a good question. I don't know if it's really a weapon, but I'd have to say Green Lantern's power ring, probably. Because it can be, it's just, I mean, it is used as a weapon of defense, or I think that would be probably the most iconic weapon. I think. I would say that. I don't know. That's a good question. See, now you've got me like pondering this live on TV. I'm like, oh well. Yes, I would like to do that. Anyway, let's see. I'm having a hard time focusing on this chat now. Stubble McShave says, if there's one existing character in Star Wars that I'd like to see a movie or series about, it's a pre-Phantom Menace Darth Maul, where he's out doing clandestine secret missions. That'd be great too. I love Darth Maul. I love seeing him come back, spoiler alert, in Solo. Limac Asjack says, if you could pitch the outlines for your favorite Star Trek character from each series for a possible appearance in Picard 20. Is it called Picard 2399? Who would you pick, and where would they stand in? Who would I? Well, where? Favorite Star Trek character from each series. Well, gosh, that's a good question. Well, I'll tell you, I would like Ronnie Cox from the 2-part episode Chain of Command to come back as Captain Edward Jellicoe. I love Ronnie Cox. I got to interview him for the Chain of Command single disc, movie disc, Blu-ray. He was great. He was one of my favorite guest characters in Star Trek. And I'd love to get J.G. Hertzler to come back as Martok, because Martok really never met Picard, but I would love to see Hertzler come back playing Martok. That would be awesome. Maybe from the original series, I don't know. Who would I have come back? I don't know if there's anybody still around from the original series. That would be tough. And with Voyager, I would like to see Janeway. I'd love to see a scene with Picard and Janeway together, not just over a view screen. I think that'd be great. That would be most excellent. Vesta says, Robert, that old computer of yours is great. Don't toss it away. I won't. I wasn't planning on it. It's good. Dax Jacobson says, Ronnie Cox makes music, folk music. I downloaded some of his MP3s. He does, and he still tours. The guy's amazing, or he did 5 years ago or 6 years ago. He's amazing. I love Ronnie Cox. Tom Grokut says, Rob, what are your aspirations for this channel in the next 6 months to a year? Good question. At first this was just kind of a lark, but you guys have proven to me that I have to take this channel very seriously. And now that Lucky Tiger is sponsoring this channel, sponsoring me, sponsoring the website, and I'm doing work for them directly, what this channel needs to do is grow. I'd like to see it become much bigger than it is. I would like to use this as a platform to bring people together in the real world, whether we do seminars or live shows, or I never thought I wanted to be a Kevin Smith where I do live shows on stage or something like that. But what would be cool is to get people to meet up in the real world, and share this as a lifestyle choice. If that makes any sense. I mean, it would be great to see that. I would like to see it expand. I mean, I'd like to see it. If I could put this on what's great about this is it helps me, because of the support you guys show. The financial stress of being an independent filmmaker is a little bit lifted, to be honest. And it's great. And if I could do this, I mean, I could see this as a job, as a full-time job, because frankly, the hustle of trying to make movies, I've been working on Tango Shalom for 3 years and it's not done yet. Also Skyfighter, we're trying to get that feature up and running, but trying to get movies made, you don't make enough money anymore unless you have a real breakthrough financial success. So this is something I never thought could be a job or that it could be sustaining, but it is. And it's also very fulfilling. And I would like to see this. Look, we need more people, and we need more places and communities where people look. We have it pretty damn good right now. Humanity has it pretty great right now. Yeah, we always concentrate on the bad stuff, but what this community that we're sort of building here is it's a community of joy. That's what it should be. Let's share the joy and share the love of what we're doing here together. That's what I would like to see this through our geek interests. Because the great thing is what's so funny to me about this divisiveness, starting with Gamergate or Last Jedi or whatever it is, these are things that should be bringing all of us joy all the time. And the fact that they've been sort of perverted or turned into weapons against the toxic fandom is being used against other fans. It's so weird to me. It's so weird to me that whether it's Captain Marvel or The Last Jedi, that people would use it to browbeat others. I mean, I understand when it's Star Trek Discovery. No, I'm kidding. It's never all right to browbeat people for their interests. And what do we need that for? So I'd like to see, this channel to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and have the Post-Geek Singularity get to be a much larger community. So tell your friends to subscribe and participate. It's interesting watching new faces come into these chats, and I'm getting new letters from people that I don't know. And I've only been doing this for 3 months, and it's been amazing to see how all you guys have responded. But that's a really good question. What do you guys think? What should I do with this channel? I'd love to hear your thoughts. The Burnettwork.net. Brought to you now by Lucky Tiger. And I think that that's a good thing. I mean, I want to see this. By the way, don't forget, I'm telling you, Alan Murphy, who's the CEO of Lucky Tiger. I want to get him on this show. You guys want to get him on the show. It'd be great because you'll grill him on a live chat. Find out what it's like to be a CEO of a modern American company. What's it like? I want to know how they develop product. Like, what's really cool is if you go to the Lucky Tiger Club, Lucky Tiger website, it really is interesting how the company started almost 100 years ago. And I want to know, how do you stay relevant in the men's personal grooming space? I don't know this. I love having, when we talk to people who are outside of the sphere of influence of geekdom, how we can find out, like, how do you become a captain of industry? I don't know. I mean, if I knew more, I could tell him, what does he think as a captain of his own ship? What should we do with this channel to grow it and turn it into a mainstay, a brand that's an American brand that's lasted 100 years? Hopefully Alan will have some insight for us, but write the guy, because I think it's going to be funny. It's kind of like what happened with Rafe Needleman on the Inglorious Trexperts podcast. We just started talking about Rafe Needleman all the time, and eventually Rafe Needleman called up. He came down from San Francisco. We put him on the podcast. So that's what I want to do with my sponsor. We got to get him to come on the podcast. You guys got to tell him how much you want him to be here. I don't even know how to get a hold of him. He just called me on the phone once. I don't have his number. It's not like Bob Iger that I have on speed dial. I'm kidding. I don't really have Bob Iger on speed dial, but it's a nice bit that we keep. Actually, how do you know I don't have Bob Iger on speed dial? I might. I'm just gaslighting you right now. Dark Knight 1998 says, have a live chat while working on your film. Absolutely. I would love nothing more than to be directing a movie and live streaming the whole thing. I'll even wear a rig where I'm constantly carrying cameras and you can see. And what would be really cool is if I had cameras pointing in multiple directions. So as I'm walking around, you could choose to look at whatever part of the set you want to look at. I mean, that would be kind of dope. I could wear like a crown of thorns, but instead of a crown of thorns, it'd be a crown of cameras, and you guys could choose which feed you wanted. This is a great idea. Somebody should hire me to do this. And then you could actually watch the entire process of a film, and it would be unobtrusive because I wouldn't know you were there. I just put the cameras on and you'd watch. And then, of course, somebody would tell me that insurance purposes would make it impossible, but it's kind of an interesting idea. Haskell 420 says, you don't have Iger's number yet? No, dude, I do. I was just kidding. I just can't. What if my phone got stolen? People would start like sending bad messages to Bob Iger. I can't have that. Bob Iger and I play squash every Sunday, and we have a lunch at Jeffrey's in Malibu. I always get my lobster. You know that. How do you think I'm going to get to see Endgame before anyone else? Bob Iger. It's our friendship. Bartamac is here. He says, we're not just nerds, we're Vulcans. Wasting energy on arguing is illogical. I agree with you. Tom Grocott says, 1 week, 6 days until Game of Thrones. Can you believe that? It's unbelievable. Amazing. Jason McKibben says, thank you, Rob, for bringing back the joy I've been missing since Schnepp's departure. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for saying so. That's what it's all about, bringing the joy. We don't want to be destroyers of joy because I don't like those people. Dale M says, it's the community here that makes this place great. And yeah, Rob is okay as well. Fan War says, favorite food. Okay, I got different favorite foods. I'm a huge seafood fan. I love crab. I love Dungeness crab. I love king crab. I love crab. I love lobster. I love shellfish. And being raised as a Jew, it was a little rough, but it doesn't matter. Do you know why God made people go kosher, why he came up with the idea of kosher? Because no one had figured out what electricity was yet. Now that we have ice and refrigeration, I say, yes, we can eat shellfish, we can eat pork. We don't have to, I get it. I don't want to offend anybody, but you kept kosher because it would kill you. If you ate pork that was bad in the hot baking sun and shellfish, it would last like 5 minutes in that. No wonder you had to keep kosher, because if you didn't, you would die. But now God wants you to eat shellfish. He does, or she does, or it does, because shellfish is good. Why do you think he made it taste that good? It wouldn't have reacted with our taste buds so well if he didn't want us to eat it. And I love shellfish. I also love grilled salmon is really good. I love pasta. I love meats. I love a lot of things. My girlfriend thinks I'm a really picky eater, and perhaps I am. But those are some of my, I mean, I think my favorite food in the world is grilled salmon. I really do. A nice grilled salmon, usually over an open flame or maybe some mesquite wood. So good. I love that. Jennifer Jones says, haven't tried lobster or crab yet. What? Come on, you really have to. And if you try crab, get it steamed and get some king crab legs. There's a lot of work involved with eating crab, but I assure you it's worth it. And if you ever try lobster, make them take it out of the shell for you, because then it just becomes problematic. Jennifer Jones says, you were also raised Jewish. Well, so it's not good, but I'm telling you, God wants you to eat shellfish. That's why I made it taste so good. Tom Grokut says, I looked at the GoFundMe page for Jon Schnepp. It raised $170,000. I couldn't believe it. Shows what the fan community can do when they band together. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. And that was really nice. A lot of outpouring. I mean, it was so unexpected. It was really not good. Bunyan Snipe says, crab is messy, sweet fun, especially if you're in Seattle and you go to Elliott's on one of the piers. I think it's like Pier 56. I'm not sure. Elliott's in Seattle is one of my favorite restaurants to go to. I go there whenever I go back. I'm going back to Seattle on the 11th of April. And on the 11th for my mom's 80th birthday, I'm going to go hit Elliott's. I think that will be fun. Bartomac says, Leland can't be Borg. Long before the events of Discovery, the Borg assimilated Guinan's homeworld in the Delta Quadrant. Q also insisted his introduction was the first human and Borg interaction. You know what, though? The writers on Discovery don't even know that. They'll probably make him a Borg, which is kind of lame. The Wolverines here says, what's going on, Post-Geek Singularity? Well, it's all the haps right here. You're missing the party. This is a lunch hour party like none other. Crab and lobster is so good. Lee Sandoval says, how's your trip going? Well, it's going good. I'm a little tired, but it's going well. Jennifer Jones says, Real Girl 26, now you're hungry. I'm certainly hungry. Fenwar says, to expand this community, perhaps a city-by-city meetup might work and a live podcast at the same time. I'm telling you, I'll get a car. What I want to do is get a car, maybe GM. GM should give me a car, and I'll drive around the country and whatever color you want, and I'll have my rig in the car, and it'll be the Robservations tailgate party. I'll have all the electronics I need. I'll get like a satellite hookup so I can go to places like Devil's Tower in Wyoming where I've never been, and we could do meetups all over the place. It'll be great. Magic K says, Seattle comic shop recommendations. Well, I haven't been there in a long time. I used Time Travelers, which isn't there, Golden Age Collectibles, which is at the Pike Place Market, but I don't know anything about comic book stores anymore because I haven't lived in the Seattle area regularly for 30 years. Fergal Kelly says, can the car drive to Ireland? Dude, it just has to be shipped. I'll come. My dream, here's one of my dreams, because I'm part Irish. I've always wanted to walk around all of Ireland and stop at every distillery and drink. That's what I want to do. I just want to walk around Ireland and drink and have hit every distillery. I know that's a little crazy. And I want to sing every song in the movie Sing Street wherever we go, because the riddle of the model. If you guys haven't seen Sing Street, you got to see Sing Street. It's one of the great movies of all time. Pleasant Valley Picker Canada says, cherish your mom, Rob. Mine passed on a few years ago. I still miss her. I do cherish my mom. She's great. She's going to be 80. She still plays 18 holes of golf 3 times a week. I will tell you said that. Greg Smith is here. He says, can't stay, but this looks and sounds good. See you soon. Greg, are you bringing Priscilla, Queen of the Glacier, to Wenatchee? I want to see her. I gotta interview you with Priscilla. Mike Bodden is here. For the Robservations road trip, you have to come to Iowa. It's like Ireland, only on the Mississippi, and fewer redheads and more pork chops and corn. Fewer redheads. Why would I want to go then? Part of the reason that you want to go to Ireland is to meet a nice Irish redheaded lass. Isn't that the point? Learning Disabled Spock says, I'm up for some whiskey pilgrimages, Irish whiskey pilgrimages. It'd be great. Can you imagine? It'd be like Rocky 2. I just walk around Ireland, but the crowd behind me would just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It'd be great. And we'd all just have this drunken, revelatory walk all around Ireland. It'd be fantastic. Unless, of course, this Brexit thing happens. What's going to happen with Northern Ireland? Are they actually going to build a border wall? I watched the whole thing on it. That's not going to happen. That's not going to go over well. I don't think they thought this through. But anyway, Ivan Katsaroff is here. Ivan, thank you for that chat. Hey, Rob, love your show and your work with Jon as well. The best moment I have was when you said that your best movie-going experience was in Bulgaria. Any interesting stories to share? Well, Ivan, as many of you might know, in 2008, I was in Sofia, Bulgaria, producing a horror film called The Hills Run Red. I loved Bulgaria. I love the people there. I loved everybody. It was so much fun. The crew was really good. Everybody was so nice. The Bulgarians know how to party. Like, everybody dances. Nobody holds back. It was amazing. I met Dolph Lundgren. I was staying at the Kempinski in Sofia. And I was at the Kempinski, and I went down into the gym one morning, and nobody was in there. But Dolph Lundgren himself was in the gym in the Kempinski in Sofia. And I was like, I talked to him. And I said, I was like, hello, you're Dolph Lundgren. It was so random. But a lot of movies get made in Sofia now, so it wasn't that unusual. And he was on his way to direct a movie where he played the drummer in a rock band. And he basically told me the movie was like Die Hard at a rock concert, which I've never seen. But yes, I loved Bulgaria. It was a lot of fun, and I love the people there. I'd love to go back. I'd love to go make another movie in Bulgaria. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was great. Jason McKibben says, "What would it take to get you at Jet City Con in Tacoma? My aunt and uncle live in Con. In Con. My aunt and uncle live in Tacoma, not in Con. So yes, I'd love to. It's in September. I'd come up if I was invited. Sure, why not? Time Travelers had the best Silver Age comics, Underground's punk rock records, the band The Accused practiced in back. Dude, Time Travelers rule. They also had movie posters. I went there every week. I love Time Travelers. I miss it. It was a great sort of alternative culture, counterculture store that also sold comics, punk, just like you said. It was great. I miss it. All right, you guys, I can barely stay awake, believe it or not, doing this chat. This has been interesting and fun. It's always great to talk to you guys here, you members of the Post-Geek Singularity community. So after 90 minutes, I mean, between Jon Campea and I, you've got 4 hours and 4.5 hours of us talking. It's unbelievable. Dave Atkins says, people say I'm sad for going to the movies with my dad. It's because my dad is great. We have many of the same interests. I want to make as many memories as possible with my parents. Why would you be sad going to the movies with your dad? How awesome is that? I mean, it's fantastic. I think it's great. Don't be sad about that. Tell people, why would people say that? Why wouldn't you want to go to movies with your dad? I wish my dad was still here to go to movies with. I'll tell you a funny story about my dad. So I would always make him I'd drag him to R-rated movies that he wouldn't go see. And my dad took me to see Phantasm. All right. Still one of my favorite horror movies. And if you remember Phantasm, there's a scene when Tommy, the cousin, is having sex with the lady in lavender. This is how the movie opens, in a graveyard. And the lady in lavender, topless, of course, pulls out a knife and stabs Tommy in the chest repeatedly. So I'm sitting next to my dad. And my dad fought in World War II. I thought he was like a tough guy. He actually left when Tommy got stabbed, which is in the first 5 minutes of the movie. He left the movie and he went out into the lobby and he smoked a cigar for an hour and a half, waiting for his son to finish watching this film. That's how cool my dad was. I wholeheartedly believe in seeing movies with your dad. So you go right on doing that. And I think it's great. Don't ever apologize for that. Haskell 420 says, thank you, Rob. Have a good nap. All right, with that, I got to go eat something too. My blood sugar is low. I have not eaten anything today. I've only drank coffee, and I'm a little loopy, to be honest. So anyway, as those of you know, and those of you who don't, who are new here, I always say this at the end of every show, which is every person that you meet has a story to tell that you have not yet heard yet. All you have to do is listen, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Well, I'm going to bring this chat to an end. Maybe I'll go on later tonight. I'll tell you what happens at the Dolby party. Maybe I'll get Dolby to sponsor me so I can bring these chats to you in Atmos. Would that be cool? That'd be cool. I don't even have Atmos at home, but I really want Atmos. I really want to put under my bed like gigantic speakers that would just, kind of be like that 4D experience. Those guys are here too. So I'll tell you more about what happens, and I'll keep you abreast of what's happening here at Cinemacon. I might be back later today. You never know. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be on Jon Campea's show tomorrow morning. I'm going to go over to the Octavius Tower, which just, I want to ask him. I haven't even talked to Jon since I've been here. I wonder if he requested the Octavius Tower just to say he was in it. But yeah. Today's cultural news says get a drink for, well, I'm going to get here. I'm drinking water. So that brings this chat to an end. Thank you all for being here. Very much appreciate it. And thank you for supporting the channel. And thanks to Lucky Tiger. Lucky Tiger with this incredible lip balm that I love. I really like their products so far. They are sponsoring me from now on. So I'm going to talk about Lucky Tiger. But I want all of you guys to write. Go to Lucky Tiger. Hang on. Let me get the website correct. Go to Lucky Tiger. It's getluckytiger.com. You can actually get their product. And then there's clubluckytiger.com, where there's going to be new content that I'm going to be producing that's going up there. But if they have places where you can send comments or stuff, just inundate them with Alan Murphy's name. He's the CEO of Lucky Tiger. And start asking him, tell him Rob Burnett we want you to do a live stream with Rob Burnett, and we want to ask you questions about Lucky Tiger. Make him come on. We're gonna just like Rafe Needleman came on to the Inglorious Trexperts podcast. We eventually got him. You guys write. He'll be perplexed. He'll wonder, because I only ever talked to him on the phone, and he actually said to me that I undervalued myself and I deserve to make more. You don't have to say that to him. He said that to me personally, and I like his product, but I want to get him on this show, and it'll be up to you to do so. Plus, he'll think that's weird. It'll be funny. It'll be a funny thing, because how many CEOs of men's grooming companies get asked by geeks all over the world to come onto a live stream? I'll bet not many. He'll be the first. Alan will be the first. And, try out his product. It's pretty good. I want to try out more products too. I don't even have, they were going to send me a whole pantheon of products. It's in the mail. It's going to get there. And I want to try, I'm going to do my own Lucky Tiger, like commercials, and I'll do reviews. I'll do product reviews, and it'll be fun because I've never had a sponsor before. So I figure, why not make it, I'll have a sponsor the Burnettwork way. Just like Robservations is a show about something, my sponsors, they're going to be sponsors of something. And I'm going to actually, it'll be fun. It's going to be fun to have sponsors. I want to get all kinds of sponsors, liquor sponsors. I mean, Allagash, Tom from Allagash already sent me a care package. It'll be great. It'll be fun. But anyway, write him because it'll be funny. Alan Murphy, just look him up, the Lucky Tiger websites. Anyway, thanks for being here. I'm going to get off this live stream because I have to eat. I am loopy. And you guys need to eat too, because the lunch hour is over. Wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Iraq, whether you're at the GM plant painting cars, whether you're Vesna in Sarajevo, whether you're Willow up in Canada, growing cultures in E. coli, whatever you guys are doing, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this, the Post-Geek Singularity community. Haskell 420 says, Rob, what is the CEO's name again? The CEO's name is Alan Murphy. Alan Murphy, the CEO of Lucky Tiger. Go to clubluckytiger.com or go to getluckytiger.com. And actually, when you're there, if you go to getluckytiger.com, buy some product. It's really good. And they're my sponsors now, so I'm going to say buy their product. If I didn't like their product, I wouldn't say buy their product. It's really good product. I mean, it makes me want to grow a beard, frankly. I mean, I had a beard. I had a white. My beard's white, but I think I might grow a beard just to be on the Lucky Tiger tip, and I'll be able to like try all their products. I think that'd be kind of fun. And then I'll use it to shave it all off. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to go, but Alan Murphy, write him, tell him I sent you. It'll be hilarious. Tell him this is his first day of sponsorship. I want to make it worth his while. Anyway, there's a shameless plug. Clubluckytiger.com, get Lucky Tiger. But thanks for being here, you guys. It's going to be fun to have a sponsor. I don't know if it's going to be fun for them. I hope it is. But I'll be back tomorrow, maybe tonight, when I'll tell you how the Dolby party was. Maybe I'll turn on my phone and live stream from the Dolby party. You'll see a bunch of people in suits looking at each other, kind of looking bored. I don't think you're going to see people cut loose. It won't be like Animal House at the Dolby party. But you never know. Those people that make speakers or sound systems, they can get rowdy. All right, I'll see you guys later. And thanks for being here. And thanks for the support.